Welcome, ladies, to the body class. I'm Shara Ogan, as you all know. So today, this is a really, I guess, a class I'm passionate about, partly because of my own history with it, but also partly because there's so many women out there that are lacking love for their physical body. And we're going to cover a few things today. I'm going to talk for a little bit, and then we're going to go into a meditation, and then we're going to do a share with, you're going to share with the group, and then you're going to share with one another, and then at the very end, we're going to look into the mirror, and I'm going to guide you through an exercise, and then at the very end, dance. Lighten it all up. So if there's any takeaway I want you to leave this class with, it's this. It's that the main thing that determines how much weight you gain or lose or what your actual body looks like is your thoughts. And what we're finding nowadays is that you can actually mutate your genes to actually change your physical body. You can mutate your genes to change everything about you, like your, I already have, like I'm a perfect example of, there's emotional, there's physical, and there's spiritual genes. So emotional genes would be like happiness level. Like I used to be really unhappy and sort of depressed. Had a really heavy energy, and now I'm pretty much like the opposite. And because of that, my baby came into the world, and she inherited my happy. Like, is she like not? Jen just like babysat for my baby, and it's like, is she not like the happiest baby?
She's so
like
sweet.
all she wants to do is like laugh and smile, and I'm like, okay, I wish I was like that as a baby. So that's emotional, and then there's physical genes. And when I was growing up, well, I'll tell you about my story in a bit, but I would say I was heavier set. Like, I would say I was big boned. I remember once calling myself, I'm big boned. And now, I would definitely not say that now. I would say I'm small to medium boned. So when I look back and even look at photos, I'm like, did my genes actually mutate? Because it's very rare that you actually see somebody change their bone structure, but I actually did. And I had more of a round figure, let's say, and now I have a total hourglass figure. And not only that, I changed a lot of features in my face, like my cheekbones lifted, for instance. And then there's spiritual DNA. And the spiritual is your connection to source. People say, were you born with this psychic ability? And actually, unfortunately, no, I wasn't. I had to develop it. I had to like break through a lot of the slough and the fog in order to get to this place that I'm at right now. So back to the concept of your thoughts. Your thoughts will determine whether you lose weight or gain weight. Like I could literally sit down and eat like a humongous meal. Sometimes people are like, how do you do that? And I could like eat like, sometimes I cook like an amazing huge meal and I'll eat it all and I won't gain weight. But sometimes I'll feel bad and sometimes I'll feel good after I eat it, and it all depends on what's going on the inside. Like if I'm really in line and like in line with myself, meaning like balanced in my truth, doing it, then I could eat whatever I want and it's fine. So I actually just wrote a blog, and I think I'm going to do a podcast about this topic, about how to lose weight. Because yes, diet, eating healthy is like, that's totally up my alley, but that's not what this talk is about, and that's not the main thing that's going to help a person to lose weight. It's actually their thoughts that they put onto their food and their thoughts that they put onto the body, their body image. So a food is good for you if you think it's good for you, and it's not good for you if you don't think it's good for you. And of course I know a lot of what works for my body. Like sugar does not work on my body. I just don't eat sugar. I don't eat sugar. I do a lot of kombucha, but in general I don't do sugar of any sort. But I know that like if I really believe I basically just changed my mind. I used to have a real affinity for junk food when I was growing up because I never had junk food as a kid. And so like any opportunity, like I would eat a whole bag of Whoppers. I remember this one time. But now I've just trained myself that I only like healthy foods. And so that agrees with my body. So often what happens with a lot of women is we lose our touch with what actually we want to eat. What's the best thing for us? And that's one thing I could even help you guys tonight, or help clients to like what's the best foods for you. But it's even better if you get that own information from yourself. And we have all that information. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you a little bit about my history with this topic. When I was growing up, I had no friends. And I was in high school and I was very chubby. I was chubby. I was like on the fringe of overweight. And I had this belief that women who are skinny attract men and women who are fat don't. I just hated every aspect of my body. Let's just say I just thought I was so ugly. I just couldn't understand how a man would want to be with me. All those thoughts, like every single day, that I was consumed with those kind of thoughts. And so I decided when I was in my junior year of high school that I was going to lose weight. And I did. I lost 40 pounds in 3 months. And then I became anorexic. Textbook anorexic. Like, textbook anorexic is a constant liar. And it's so interesting the journey that people go on to get to their life purpose, So my life purpose right now is around truth. Truth and alignment are synonymous for me. I work a lot with the physical body and finding physical alignment, but I was a chronic liar. And I would look at myself in the mirror and I'd be like, I'm fat. And all the way till I was actually 25 pounds less weight than I am before I had to be in an eating disorder unit, hospitalized basically. And so it was pretty severe. I had two big episodes with it. That was the first one, and the second one was after I graduated from college, and I lost an ability to digest food. Like it basically, because of all my negative thoughts I had about myself and the self-flagellating thoughts, I basically had it so my organs no longer digest food. All the digestive organs, like your small intestines and stuff, those weren't working for me. And so I would eat something and then I would burp it out 12 hours later, or fart it out, or it was just like this awful body symptoms I was having. And to the point where like, it was basically like, whatever the opposite of intimacy is, like stay away, that's what my body was saying. And I was basically doing that to myself. And then my dad who's a doctor, sent me to like every kind of, specialist to figure out what was wrong with me. And, I knew that they weren't going to find anything, and of course they didn't. And if I had only known these wisdoms that we're going to talk about today, about like, if I just knew how to be gentle on my body, and if I had like 95% of the thoughts that were going on my head were about like how awful and ugly and everything wrong with me was, then of course I basically made it so that I couldn't digest food. Okay, so there's, I believe, 4 main reasons. I just actually thought about this right before I came here tonight, so let me see if I can remember what I got clarity around. There's 4 main reasons why people have issues with food. The first one is their emotions and their body image. Is the main reason why people have a hard time losing weight is because of their emotions. Okay, so emotions being security, so we look to food to hide our emotions that we don't want to actually face. Loneliness is a really, I can actually see that in all of you ladies, this feeling of loneliness, because and even if you're in a relationship, you could still be lonely. The second reason, I think there's actually 5. The second reason is responsibility. So we take on the weight of other people, being like quote unquote weight. So yes, you can understand this. All 3 of you guys can understand this one. For a lot of women, it's their mother, the weight of their mother. So there's this responsibility that gets put onto a child. I mean, if I go specifically into each person, like let me just think about for you. Do you mind if I talk openly about you? Okay. Just because we just had a session, so I'm just going to think about this for you, that even though the things we talked about you wanting more attention from your mom and her not being there, more so it was she put some responsibility on you, like it's your fault. There's some of that. And so you took a lot of the weight of the responsibility of your mom. We didn't talk about this today, but I am seeing this quite clearly. Are you with me here? Mm-hmm. Okay. And so it's holding the weight of another person, and you, definitely we've talked about that. The weight of another person, so we need to make ourselves bigger oftentimes, or just have more space. It's not, you don't actually always have to be physically bigger. It could be an energy level in order to hold the responsibility of other people. The third reason is, and you'll see this a lot in women who have like the tube around their belly, or like that extra baby fat that they just can't get rid of, and they'll tell you they're eating really healthy and they're exercising, and they'll just say like, my metabolism's off. I guarantee you it's because they're holding the weight of somebody or some other people in their life, and they haven't changed that dynamic yet. Okay, the third reason is because of this is the balance between receiving and giving. We as a species, like literally 98% of my clients because I'm all women right now, have a difficult time receiving. And when we're off balance around that, what's going to happen is we're going to get exhausted in relationships. Okay, so I work a lot. For some reason, a lot of single women are drawn to working with me. Single women are on the, nearing the end of baby bearing age, and they want to attract a partner, but they believe it's what they do that is going to have somebody love them, and hence they're unable to open up that portal of receptivity. And so this is crucial that, and this goes for all of you listen to this video, and all of you in this room, that you're able to completely receive 100%. And that means like receiving a compliment, receiving a gift, receiving anything. So in relationship, I'm just clarify this, there's no tit for tat. There's not like 50% me, 50% you, that's just throw that out the window. It doesn't have to be balanced. The point I'm getting to is deprivation, okay? When we don't receive and we constantly like give, it's like that one-way street, and oftentimes in work. So a lot of you guys are working women, and so you're constantly giving and putting out and putting out and putting out. And you have to refill the container, the vessel. If the vessel doesn't get filled up, then you'll continue to give, and what that's going to do is that's going to wear out your adrenals. And I was actually just thinking about running a special on endocrine healings because women's thyroid and endocrine system is going out of whack right now, especially like the adrenals, the adrenal glands, and the thyroid is really overworking. I see this like as an epidemic with women in San Francisco right now in the Bay Area, because we're not getting filled up, and so that's throwing off the balance. Okay, so let me talk about the word deprivation. So deprivation deprivation stems back from our genetic lineage. Throughout history, we were being killed, basically. I mean, constantly there's wars going on, constantly we were running from persecution, and constantly we were in poverty. I mean, if you look back at all of history, it's a lot of religious programming, which is basically deprivation and sinner and watching your move. And so there's a lot of fear that got ingrained into ourselves. And the deprivation I'm speaking about is you're a better person if you don't take. And so we basically starve ourselves in some way, shape, or form. Starve ourselves from having. And a lot of the reasons why you don't have what you want in your life right now is because, 100% I believe this, there's a part of you that doesn't believe you deserve it. There's a part of you that believes it's better to suffer or starve yourself than receiving it. So then what happens is you go on one of two poles. Either you become like the anorexic, like I was, or you become, it could be bulimic or overweight or any of those kind of things, but it's because you deprive yourself so much, especially like when you're in a relationship with somebody else, and then when you're by yourself, then you like consume it, because it's like I never get mine, and so this is how I'm gonna get mine, by self-soothing through food, When you deprive yourself enough, then it's like, I have to find the release valve, and sometimes just eating is that release valve. Now the last reason I'm going to talk about, well, maybe two more. One of them is control, but I don't think I'm going to talk about that much, but that has a lot to do with anorexia. Just like needing the control of your life, and like throughout history, we were all being controlled. Like I guarantee 9 out of 10 of your past lives, you were like that person that was being controlled, locked up, whatever, and you wanted to have the control. And so this is still stemming today, where we're trying to find our control. So sometimes it comes out like too much masculinity in the workforce, or holding on too tight to the outcome. So that was my case in anorexia, as I felt out of control, and so I needed to get control, and then I felt control when I had that. The last thing I'm going to talk about, and this is really interesting, I really just thought about this right before coming tonight. I was meditating, and this is about abundance. Food and abundance go hand in hand. The correlation is that when we were in caveman days, food equated to money, meaning like the more you had food, like that was because they didn't have money back in caveman days is my point. So, you know, if you have food, then you have abundance. And so it's that feeling of like having and having. And then if you feel like you don't have, or if there's a feeling of abundance, like I'm not actually talking about, you could have tons of money or not no money, it doesn't matter. It's the feeling that you have inside your body of having or abundance. And so that will affect our emotions, well then oftentimes it affects how we eat and our relationship with food. We feel like we have to hold on more, like when we're feeling that feeling, we've all felt scarcity before. So that feeling of scarcity, just think about how that clamps your body in and holds it, you know, just like all the energy comes inward, contracting our muscles, and how that would affect your eating. This would definitely throw off your decisions about what's the right thing to eat. And you would just like clamor to get in whatever kind of nutrients could get in. And this is very similar, a parallel energy to that feeling of like being abundant or getting the money, you know, filling it in. So the key is balance, right? So the key is finding that balance within yourself so that you feel satiated, you feel abundant inside. It's literally like if you want to live an abundant life, you have to first actually feel abundant. Create it, no matter how you go about doing that. You have to create that feeling of abundance. And then everything else will come into play. And the end result, and after doing this kind of work that I do, you'll have no option other than to eat healthy. Like you'll find yourself being drawn towards spirulina drinks or, you know, just really healthy big salads or whatever it is. Like I could easily coach people on how to eat, but I don't. It's just a natural evolution of my work. And people tell me all the time, not that any of you guys this would apply to, but all my time, like my clients tell me that they lose weight after my sessions. They'll come to me like, I just have this extra weight, I want to lose it, and then I'll go in the exact different direction that they think I'm going to go, and then like they'll just come off. So that's super cool, huh? So I want you just to think for a moment right now, actually just kind of just settle in for a second, because I'm going to have you do an inner question. So just shut your eyes for a moment. Put your tea down. Take a breath, settle in. And first of all, just ask yourself where you are. If you're not here yet, just bring your body here into this room. And oftentimes we leave our body. It's just a natural human phenomena. So why don't you just kind of bring yourself into your physical body, into the space. If you have any resistance or difficulty doing that, then just look at that. But I think right now you're all probably in affinity to coming into your body. And bring your energy all the way down to the soles of your feet. And feel the heat under your feet connecting with the earth or the ground below you. And connect with your breath. Take a few grounding breaths in and out. Now I want you to see your body out on a screen, or just like actually put a picture, or put you, a replica of you out on a, right out in front of you, like on a screen right out in front of you. And as you're looking at this replica of you, ask yourself, what do you think of your physical body? Ask yourself where your attention goes towards. Does it go to the positive or more towards the negative? And what percent are you in affinity with your body? And it could be like 25%, 75%. Say, what percent, and it's just a number that's going to pop into your head. See what number pops up when I ask the question. What percent are you in affinity with your physical body? Okay, I got my number. Okay, great. Okay, great. And ask yourself, and as you look at yourself, what part of your body are you out of affinity with? As you ask yourself these questions, it might not be the most obvious thing that you think. Just like let the answer naturally arrive. This is accessing your higher self. ask what part of your body you're out of affinity with, but also what part of your body are you in affinity with. So what part of your body do you love? And what part of your body do you dislike? Now, the part of your body that you dislike, ask yourself, what sort of messages have you been telling it lately? And I'm also curious, what percent of the time, like what percent of the day would you say, or you could say like maybe how many times a day are you telling yourself negative messages about your body? And see what answer comes up. And also ask yourself, what does that body part need or want from you that you're giving the negative messages about? And also ask if this negative messaging is correlated to the actual eating of food. Like, does the negative voice inside of you happen before you eat, during, or after? Or sometimes the next morning? Great. And we're going to work with this. So when you're ready, you can go ahead and open your eyes and come back to this room. So we're going to go around and maybe just say your name one more time, and then I'd like you to share any of those answers, but I also want you to share the part of your body you're most in affinity with and least in affinity with, and what percent you are in affinity with your body.